social media. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. I want to thank all of these new faces and familiar faces to Mouthing Off with Mike. We're going to start the introductions. I've got the man that you should be acknowledging every day. I've got one head of the Two Heads, One Table podcast. I've got the tribal host, Isiah Curry. Tell the people I'm Mouthing Off what's up.
Hey, what's up, Mouthing Off with Mike? I'm so excited to get into this discussion. You know, wrestling, man, it just keeps coming and going. We watch it several times a week, and that's why I respect you, Mouthing Off with Mike. And salute to you what you're doing over there. Of course, as you said, I'm the tribal host of the longest rated podcast, but you know what, Mouthing Off with Mike, you're the head of this table right now, you know, so I got to follow your lead, man.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it. And he is from the Sports with Luke show. We've got Shawn Lucas, first timer on Mouthing Off with Mike. Welcome in, my man. How are you feeling today?
Hey, feeling good, Mike. Glad to be here. I'll do Sports with Luke over here, but I'm glad to be on your show today. A lot to talk about with Clash at the Castle. I'm a little upset with some things that happened. Ready to dive in when you guys are ready.
Oh, baby. And last but certainly not least, the man, he's got two shows, too. We've got the host of DropTheMike Wrestling and Out of Pocket with Michael Davis. Michael Davis, what's going on, good brother?
What's up? I technically have more than two shows, but I also can't keep up with everything I'm doing. Just like Shawn, I'm really ticked off, so maybe this wasn't the best time to do our first ever live reactions. We're across Mouthing Off with Mike's social platforms. You guys can like, retweet, subscribe, do all that stuff, because that man deserves it.
Dude, I appreciate those words, man. Well, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. We just concluded WWE Clash at the Castle in Glasgow, Scotland, and it was a very enjoyable show for me. But let's start off here with the first match, which was the I Quit match between the current WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and he's taking on the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Now, Cody Rhodes did retain his championship. He got AJ Styles to say, I quit. But that's not what we're talking about. We want to hear from this amazing panel. So we're going to start it off because he seems like he's got a lot to say today. And, you know, he's a Roman Reigns guy. He's a Bloodline guy. So I want to hear what Isiah had to think about this match, considering he is a big Roman Reigns fan.
Well, I'll tell you guys right now, a star rating. Look, I grade better than Dave Meltzer, and I'll be the first person to tell you guys I gave it a 4.5. You know, we go back to Backlash when these guys first squared off with AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. Let's be real. Like, there wasn't going to be anything that topped that, but it got pretty close. I'm not the biggest fan of hardcore matches. That's actually the final host of DKO and my co-host of Two Heads, One Table, The Legend. But look, I can dig a I Quit match, but they're very tricky to book. And I think you mentioned that, Mike. It's really, when you book matches like that, anything goes. It's just like a hardcore match. It's just like a no disqualification match. So I expected for there to be some blood. I expected to be color. And that's exactly what we got from both men. Look, it delivered. There was, the crowd, I'm sure everybody's got something to say about that crowd tonight. But I'm going to tell you, it really carried the match on. And both guys, you could see the adrenaline, and not just Cody's soul, but in AJ Styles' soul as well. And, you know, opening with that match was just amazing. Did I expect Cody to win? Absolutely. It's Super Cody, man. I mean, people just don't get it. And yeah, I'm a Bloodline fan, but at the end of the day, they got to realize they took a 4-year title reign and they gave it to somebody who WWE believes will spearhead this company in the next direction. Cody's not going to lose within 2 months. There's a bigger story to be told, but the AJ Styles story, I think it came to an end tonight, and rightfully so. And I thought AJ Styles looked good doing so by, saying I quit with the steel steps. Some people will make the argument about, AJ Styles, he should have just kicked the steel steps or just fended it off. But come on, man. Like, you got to go somewhere. It was a great match, and I'm just glad Cody got over.
I like it. Shawn, what do you think? What were your thoughts?
To open up with this match, I knew it was going to be a great match. It's Cody and AJ, two guys who can technically go blow for blow. I was like, I was a little worried because it was an I Quit match. I said, AJ's more of a guy who's got a submission style. He's got a cow crusher move. Cody used the figure four, so I was a little skeptical how it could go. How could they keep the title on Cody, which we knew going to this match. Cody was going to stay the champ. I think there's a bigger story with Cody down the road with the bloodline. So we knew that. But great technical match. And one thing I can say that I did like about this match, you protected AJ without having to put him in the figure four, have him say, I quit. Cody handcuffed him, a little gimmick right there, handcuffed him, picked the steps up, and had AJ just say, I quit, to pretty much say he's saving face for another match. And it still gives AJ to walk away from this match with, yes, he said I quit, but he wasn't in a mood to say I quit. It was like, if he comes back on SmackDown Friday, I had to say I quit because he was getting ready to hit me with the steps. I had to protect myself, guys. What you want me to do? I want to keep continuing out. I didn't want to be on the shelf for 4 or 5 months for this. So I think they did good with telling a story in this match. Great match. And I think, like Isiah said, AJ and Cody now can go their separate ways, and Cody can begin working on a new challenger, and AJ can begin working on something with the Good Brothers if they decide to get back together.
Shawn, I wanted to say this real quick. I came in here and there's about 3 things that I'm like very flawed with this premium live event. And I'm kind of glad you spoke before me because you've kind of changed my mind, because I love that match. That was a great match opening the show for Clash at the Castle. You knew AJ and Cody were absolutely going to bring it, being able to go back into Gorilla and fight a little bit. But I just felt the ending was a little weak when I initially did this. And I know that's the worry about doing these live show reactions, because you don't have time to sit and like digest it all. That's why I usually release my podcast midweek. But now hearing your explanation of like, hey, this protects AJ Styles as a competitor and keeps his legitimacy. You know what? No issues with this opening match. Shawn sold me.
I like it. Okay, so listen, as the resident Cody Rhodes guy, big Cody Rhodes guy, I enjoyed this match. I thought it painted a nice story in the ring. They went out there, they set the pace of the show. Like, this is the most important thing in pro wrestling. You know, the opener sets that pace, and it set the pace for all of these matches. I thought all of these matches were highly enjoyable. This was a really good, well put together premium live event from WWE. I was a big fan that there was color. I was co-hosting the Two Heads One Tables watch along space today during Clash of the Castle, and I posed the question, will we see color? A lot of people said, yeah, I think we're going to see it. We got it. Not just Cody Rhodes, but AJ Styles, and it added to the match. That's why I believe, and I'm sure you guys can agree to this, that when you have matches where there's a lot of blood consistently, like, you know, and you see it in AEW a lot, there's a lot of matches that always have blood, but then you see it sparingly across, it really does enhance it, right? Did you feel that aspect of it took this match to the next level?
Yeah. I mean, we've all been watching wrestling for some amount of time. If you weren't expecting blood, I need you to go turn on Teletubbies, go over there, get you a bag of Fruit Loops, and just go watch something else, man. Like, especially with the careers that AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes have had outside of WWE. Blood, that was prominent. That was important for them to have that in the match. But, you know, I just say it did enhance it. And I definitely agree with that sentiment.
Well,
okay. I like it.
Got a match like I Quit or Last Man Standing, Mike. You know, we got to have, that's what people got to understand. We got to have some type of color. You got to have some blood. It gives that authenticity to the match of, here's two guys, they're beating the living crap out of each other because one of them want to be superior and win. So I think the blood just adds a little bit more of the chemistry to make this match more prominent when you go walk away from it.
See, Shawn's got some valid points. This is why we always love having new minds to come on to the show. Listen, I enjoyed it. Mama Rhodes got involved in this match. We were all concerned. We were worried that Mama Rhodes was going to be the victim of AJ Styles' attack. But Mama Rhodes, not only once, not only twice, but 3 times, hit him with the 5 fingers to the face, which I thought was a nice addition to this match as well. And then at the end, getting permission from Mama to bash AJ with the steel steps. Just some nice moments in this match here. I think this is a top match, and it might have beat out AJ and Cody Part 1.
No.
Mike Davis?
No.
So tell me why. So you're going to tell me why this didn't beat out Part 1, and then we're going to move on to the women's tag title match. So go ahead, Mikey.
So I'm not going to, go into like the different crowds, but the atmosphere in France elevated that match. It was just a pure one-on-one match that's going to beat out any, I quit, or let's get weapons involved, or let's hoist these steel steps above our head, or get these handcuffs. Like, it didn't have to rely on any of those extra props to make this match good. I mean, great, Cody and AJ did great, but like that Backlash match was so pure. I'm sure that people who have their own wrestling schools are going to show that tape to aspiring up and coming training wrestlers to say, hey, that's what you need to accomplish. That's what you need to do if you're going to be successful in this business.
Agreed. It's a litmus, it's this, like, it's been said about Randy Orton a lot, that if you're a pro wrestler, you're up and coming, watch Randy Orton sell in the ring, watch his psychology in the ring, and the same thing can be said about Cody and AJ. So I respect it. I respect Mike's views on this. But I will say France was behind AJ. Glasgow was behind Cody. So it's very interesting to see both of those crowds, favor their guy, and they, respectively, maybe there'll be a part 3, and maybe the U.S. can step it up a little bit, because that's always a conversation. We had a triple threat for the women's tag team titles. Bianca and Jade taking on Shayna and Zoe, taking on the home country women of Alba and Isla. And in a shock, in an absolute shock in Scotland, ladies and gentlemen, we have new women's tag team champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I'll start this off with Mike. Mike, thoughts on the new champions?
Dude, what? Like that's my thought. Like, I did not see that coming. I thought what we were going to have happen is Bianca and Jade, okay, they're going to retain, they're going to hold these titles a little bit longer, they're going to keep these two women together, and then eventually Jade would turn on Bianca at some point, potentially around the Royal Rumble, to set up a WrestleMania match between those two. Because we're eventually going to get that match. Granted,
of course,
you saw probably during the match, like, this was probably, and I don't want to steer the conversation away, but this is probably the worst minute of Jade Cargill's career in that match. Like, there were, I wanted to count like 3 or 4 botches.
Oh, yes.
And I can understand slipping on the ropes. I can understand, messing up a move. But when you're in a submission and that's not the finish, do not tap. What are you doing?
And that was picked up across the internet, that she was tapping, to Shayna's sleeper. It wasn't her greatest moment. I'll say that.
And here's what made it worse is, like, the referee was on the other side, and Michael Cole's like, she's tapping. I'm like, okay, there's a story going on. I'll digress. But with the ref right there, she's still tapping. And I'm like, how do you, like, play this off? You just couldn't. And that made this probably the weakest match on a 5-match card. Wow.
I respect that. Isiah, you've got some, you looked a little shocked when Mike brought that up. What are your thoughts here?
Oh, I won't say I was very shocked, but I was definitely shocked at the finish of the match in some way, because I wanted Jade and Bianca to prolong that story. I think you said it, Mike. I think the direction is still WrestleMania 41 for those two. I don't think you're going to split them and have Bianca and Jade face at SummerSlam. But I mean, yeah, to Michael's point, Jade had some problems tonight, but we have to remember she just got called up to WWE not even a year ago, let alone like 8 months. We have to understand that. I think they pretty much they put her in a performance center and they had her just learn an entire crash course of how to do things over here at WWE. And that's no slight to AEW. I want to make sure I give all the respect to All Elite Wrestling, because they did treat her with respect by putting that TBS title on her, and she had it for a very long time. But there's still some things that she still needs to learn in the ring. But I thought she did well, other than that 1 minute that she had. And Bianca, of course, that tag team, I just don't like that it ended early, but I do understand why. I felt like that was that sympathy booking that they gave to Alba Fire, because she did lose her mother this past week. And, sometimes you have to make that call. I don't know if it was a last minute, whether or not they were going to win right away, but I felt like it was a good decision because, again, hometown, and you have to give it to them.
Agreed. Shawn, what are your thoughts?
When I think of tag team matches, I go back to watching Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette and the guys. And there's a lot of things that, like we just said, Jay, we know, come from AEW. She was on a crash course to get into the ring. I hate to see the reign end with Jade and Bianca, but Jade just showed tonight the difference of where she's at and where she needs to get. I mean, it was one thing when they made the hot tag and they went to that side camera angle. I'm sitting in the couch like, Jade, grab the rope, grab the tag rope. Make it look more like when she gives you that hot tag, you had the rope, you're ready to get in there, and you're ready to go sell like Robert Gibbs used to do for the Rock and Roll Express when he was the powerhouse and Ricky would make the tag. It was that right there. It was the tap she did. And we know this is WrestleMania 41, but if you're WWE now and you're going to start pretty much separating Jade and Bianca because you either want Bianca to go back to singles or you want to kind of get Jade towards a singles run, they're going to have to do like AEW did. Put her where she just squashes people in 2-3 minutes. Comes in 2-3 big moves. Her finisher, 1, 2, 3 out the door. That's how I would go back and start repackaging her, because this match right here, especially with tag teams, when you throw two people together that trying to build chemistry as they keep moving on, it's hard. And I mean, you know, I hate to compare them to FTR because I'm a big FTR guy, very big FTR guy. But when you watch Dax and Wheeler, man, these guys, everything is just smooth. It's like boom, boom, boom,
They're
smooth. And you feel like that's where they're trying to get these two to get to, but it's just not there. So, I you know, it was a sympathy card. I'm glad that Fire and Ice won, but I think now it's time for WWE to separate them, send Bianca back to pretty much go after somebody, put Jade in squash match. But one more thing I will say that I did like about this match, she's growing on me, man. Every time I watch her, Zoe Starks. Zoe Starks on the circuit, get on some house shows, start building her, trade her over to SmackDown, start building her to run after Bayley, and I think you can have something with Zoe Starks in the future. She can work, she can sell, she can do it all.
I agree. Zoe Stark looked phenomenal in this match. I think I'm in the party where I think she's severely underrated. Like, I thought, you know, her feud with Becky and then Trish, like, that was great. That helped her out big time. This match overall, yes, there was some moments in it where, you know, I felt bad for Jade, you know, that 1 minute stretch, you know, those few moves where things got a little clunky, a little, you know, I don't like to use the word botch. Like, things happen in a ring. Like, she recovered very well after, though. She hit that power bomb. So, like, props to her for not letting it rattle her too much in the ring. You know, she was able to get there, you know, but yes, it was a little bit, it did not live up to my expectations, you know, of what I expected this match. And I was expecting, you know, a lot more here, but I am very happy with the result. I think Alba and Isla are two severely underrated wrestlers, especially in the tag team division. They held the NXT tag titles. They had to unfortunately lose those to Shayna and Ronda, who then, combined them, unified them. And then, you know, they weren't on TV. They were drafted last year and we didn't see them too much. And then there was repackaging being done. And, you know, now they get drafted over to Raw. So this is awesome for them. And, you know, thoughts and prayers to Alba, you know, and the family during this, you know, time. As we know, Isiah did mention, you know, her mother, you know, tragically lost her life. So thoughts and prayers, man. I'm just happy that WWE gave them this moment. Whatever the case may be with the booking aside, what an awesome moment. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. Sami Zayn took on Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship in a really good match here. But after being distracted numerous times by his own academy, Otis and Maxine, he has now lost his 5th Intercontinental Championship match in a row. Shawn, I'm going to start off with you this go round. What happens now with Chad Gable?
This to me was the match I was waiting on the whole card. It's the best storyline we got going on in WWE with the Bloodline being out, with Roman being out, and Bloodline 2.0 is what I'm calling Tangalo and Solo. But I think right now, you had to let Chad walk out with the title. I know we're building for the big Otis turn. That's what we're waiting on. And we felt we were going to get tonight. But I felt like if I was WWE and I was booking this match, I would have had Chad win tonight. Otis helps Chad. Chad just keeps stringing Otis along all the way to SummerSlam. And then that's where, right before that week going to SummerSlam, you get that turn. You set up that Otis, or you have Otis win like a number 1 contenders match. Unexpected, and you get it. I think they still can build off this storyline. I mean, Chad sold well when Sammy was walking out, so you know Monday night he's going to pretty much blow Otis and Maxine out. but I really think they missed the home run without putting the belt on Chad tonight to really add more fuel to the fire, getting it to SummerSlam.
Okay, Isiah, thoughts?
Well, the only thing I can really think about is something I thought about before this match even took place, and that's Chad Gable with the Creed brothers. He definitely needs to go to them now. There's no question about it. I like to see that, but I said it on the show yesterday, man. You know, when it comes down to Chad Gable, yes, he's lost quite a few matches for that Intercontinental Championship, but I don't think there will be a bigger low than him losing in front of his family to Gunther when he had the title last fall on that Monday Night Raw episode. I always go back to that one. I felt like from here, and it has been reported that Chad Gable did re-sign with WWE. So, of course, this storyline is going to carry over. I don't want to say he's done with Sammy, but he definitely is done with Alpha Academy. He's going to go to those Creed brothers, and that's the way that I'm looking forward with all this.
Okay. I think we're all pretty much in unison when it comes to Gable linking up with the Creeds. They've hinted at it. Mike, thoughts on this as he long distance stares? 1,000-yard stare, brother. Hi, welcome back to the show. I know we're testing things out, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Instagram's bugging out, so the format on IG has been awful. Can't even see us, so I ended the Instagram. So I'm sorry, but we are still live on YouTube and Twitter. We're working out the kinks. Mike, what do you think here? What's next for Chad Gable?
Yeah, doing multiple things at once. My Twitter's blowing up because obviously people know I'm not the most satisfied after tonight, but we'll get into that when we start talking more than the main event. I felt like Gable and Sami Zayn was a great match. I was not surprised. That's exactly what I expected. But I would have really thought you could have had more legs if you had Chad Gable win the Intercontinental title tonight. And then I presented this last week when I was talking to Shawn on Drop the Mic. I'm like, how great would it be if on Monday's Raw, Chad Gable throws himself a celebration with the Intercontinental Championship and he like presents this to Alpha Academy. He's like, look, guys, I did it. I did it. I became the Intercontinental Champion. Now, your job is to make sure I keep my Intercontinental Championship. And I feel like you could have ran through and then had Sami Zayn challenge Gable at Money in the Bank. It's in Canada. Try to get Sami Zayn to win the title back in his home country of Canada. I just felt there was a little more legs. And since Gable lost tonight, I wonder how you keep Gable in that mix for the Intercontinental title if you end up subbing someone else into that spot. But, I mean, now I'm starting to question, did Chad Gable really resign with WWE if he didn't win the Intercontinental title tonight?
Interesting. So it was reported that he re-signed. He told, I think it was Gorilla Position. Isiah shaking his head, so I think that's accurate. I don't look at the dirt sheets and everything. I like to talk about the graphs. I don't care about the contracts. What, you know what I mean? That's just my personal ideology. I think the next step for Chad Gable is the Creed brothers. It makes all the sense in the world. He's been recruiting them. I'm sure you guys have seen him backstage talking with the Creeds on Monday Night Raws the last couple of weeks, getting in the ear, kind of working them out. And I think the Creed brothers are a tag team that fits with him beautifully. We can make the comparisons to, the Angle dynasty when he was with Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. It more than likely is the direction they're going. It looks like Triple H is really pulling pieces from the greatest hits of WWE those last couple with some of these storylines, right? We saw it with AJ and the fake Mark Henry retirement, but I'm enjoying it. Isiah, did you enjoy this match? Were you left wanting more? Did you want to see Chad win it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I will say it would have been nice to see Chad win it, but I understand the whole long game about this. They really want to give Chad's booking a slow build, and as they're doing for a lot of storylines right now, I think it's very important. Like I said, Chad has lost multiple times, but the way that I'm seeing it, that doesn't necessarily mean he's got to win now. And shout out to Jason Jordan, who I'm sure he produced at least one of these matches tonight. Alpha Academy, like I'm telling you, those guys were my guys back in the day. But with Chad Gable, especially with him re-signing his contract, I think he's happy where he's at, and there's just really no rush to put a title on him. It's about his character development, and I think that's where they're going.
I like it. Any other last thoughts here before we move on to the women's title match? Anybody got any 2 cents they want to spare? Shawn?
I will say this, Mike. We were robbed. We should have got Chad Gable and Bryan Danielson years ago.
Oh,
And we have been robbed. I put that out on Twitter. So many people reacted to that. We were robbed. You talk about two guys that could have tore the house down on any show. We were robbed.
We were robbed.
If he did, I wish he was leaving so we could go to AEW and maybe get it. But now we don't resign him. We won't. But I think we were robbed of that as fans.
I agree. And before we get to the women's match, I want to give a shout out to some of the comments we're seeing. Chance, four sides of the ring. Love you guys. I got Jordan over here. Jade consistently getting better. Not always pretty, but she'll grow and keep it pushing. I agree. We're learning the ins and outs here of live videoing. So one day we'll get these comments so you can actually see them. Wayne. Zoe is an absolute star. Been saying that for the longest time now. Me and Wayne, we're on the same wavelength. Wayne has been a featured co-host of Mike on his Out of Pocket and Drop the Mic shows. Fellas, we got another Scotland's own here. I'm stumbling over my words. We got Piper going up against Bayley for the Women's Championship, and Bayley was able to successfully retain her title after what I thought was a fantastic match. Said it on Twitter on the Two Heads, One Table Watch Along. 4.3 kilts out of 5 kilts for me with this match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. What did we feel about this match? And I'll let you guys, whoever wants to go first, go first.
I could definitely jump in first. I kind of missed like half of it, to be honest with you, because I was doing some last minute day shopping. It was the same thing with the Chad Gable and Sami Zayn match. But I will say this: it doesn't surprise me the fact that Bayley won. I mean, come on, you got to remember she's a 4 horsewoman, man. Like, she has, of course, with the booking that these 4 horsewomen have had, it's just been very different with all of them. But one thing with Bayley, she's been consistently a champion in WWE, especially on the main roster. But it would have been kind of nice to see Piper Niven get that gold. I mean, the fans were really behind her. Like I said, I mean, I agree with you, Mike. It was a great match between those two. But, the champion just has to go over. I mean, when you're a champion like Bayley, who has overcome all the odds that she has way before WWE, and when she went to WWE, you got to be able to fight that off and protect your own home court, even though you were in Piper Niven's playing field, like, you got to protect your own home court, and that's what she did. So congrats to Bayley.
I like it. Valid points. Sean, what are your thoughts?
It was a good match. Maybe not the best match on the show. Maybe it could have been a SmackDown match. But we understand that Piper's at home in Scotland, so they had to put it on the card. Bayley, Bayley's my girl. I like Bayley. She's one of the top women that I always like, in this era right here. Bayley did exactly what Bayley needed to do in this type of match. Just get a win and get on to the next match, onto your next big rivalry. Piper did a very good show, and Chelsea did good. One thing I did make a note of in this match that I really thought, and I don't know why I made a note of this, because it had nothing to do with the match. When Samantha Irvin did the announcement of both of them, outstanding job by Samantha Irvin as always. I really wish that WWE would look back at some old WCW tapes when Michael Buffer used to do the announcement for a championship match, and he would always say, and the referee for this evening, Mr. Charles Robinson. Charles was right there in the camera shot. And I just kept saying, come on, Samantha, just look at just turn around and look and throw that in there, and that would just give a little bit more nostalgia. But, it was the women's championship match, so that's probably why she's probably got a script that she has to go by. But, decent match. SmackDown worthy, yes, but pay-per-view, I'm good with it on my end.
Okay. All right, I respect that. Hey, I will say, though, shout out to Samantha Irvin doing her job. Her man's was just absolutely decimated on Raw this past week. Got put through a windshield, and she's out here 5 matches announcing. We love Samantha Irvin. Mike, what did you think about Bayley and Chelsea Green Spicy Margarita, as she likes to call her, Piper Niven?
So I wanted to touch base on a couple things before I give my thoughts on what happened in this match. I did want to shout out Shawn, by the way. I just realized, like, every time I've had him on my shows, he's always at work, like, carving time out of his day to do that. Like, I really appreciate it. But this is the first time I'm seeing a setup, and he's got the 10 pounds of gold behind him. I love it.
That's nice.
Good shout out.
I was like, that's pretty cool. The other thing we haven't acknowledged in this is Chelsea Green, the MVP of this match. Obviously, Bayley and Piper, really fun environment. Of course, the crowd doing the usual Bayley chant. But Chelsea Green getting kicked out, and then she comes back in a luchadora mask. that was pretty cool, and nobody's acknowledging that. And I think it just added an extra layer to kind of like break up the seriousness of the event. And I thought it went really well.
I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, fellas. I'll say it again. Chelsea Green is one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE and pro wrestling. She's so funny. Comes out with the Rey Mysterio mask. She's trying to distract. Oh my goodness. She's the best. I would have to, I hate to disagree, but Shawn hit me with this could have been on SmackDown. No, this was a good match. Like I would highly recommend go back, give it a rewatch later this weekend, and you might be on the same page, or you might double down and be like, no, I'm right. It should have been on SmackDown. I think this was a good match on the card overall. You failed to mention, speaking of acknowledging, and we have the two heads, one table here in the show. We completely lapsed. No one brought it up about Solo Sikoa after the match. With Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens making the save from the Bloodline. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pose this question before we get to the main event. 6-man tag match, when?
Maybe Money in the Bank. Or it could be on a random SmackDown. That's the way I see it. But I tell you, that's the best part about this storyline. Yeah, Roman's gone, Rock is gone. But look, Solo Sikoa has been named the tribal chief until Roman gets back. And it's already been posed that he's going to go after Cody Rhodes. And guess what? The seed has been planted tonight. And I definitely, you got to put your ones up and acknowledge the longest reigning podcast. But, I'm not the head of this table. Mike is, and I'll say it 100 times because I appreciate him for coming on the show, because I wasn't even able to stay for all that. And he was also part of yesterday's show and many shows here at Two Heads and One Table. But I will say, I think that tag match happens at Money in the Bank.
I like it. I think that's the safest bet. Fellas, in a concurrence, random SmackDown, Money in the Bank, shenanigans down the line. What do we think?
Money in the Bank all the way. That's the one thing I can say about this Triple H era right now. The bills you get when Solo just comes out there, starts clapping like, congratulations, Cody. And then just turns like that, like, but we're waiting on you. Then Tangelo and Tamatone come out there and just start going at it. You got Kevin and Randy out there. I mean, he set the seed of, everybody's waiting for Money in the Bank. Now, like, that's the main event. We're waiting for it. So,
I agree.
Good job, Triple H, on that one, and producer crew.
Triple H, Master Chef.
Yeah. He's cooking. He's cooking, and just like this fall, Zeke's going to be eaten.
Oh my God.
Stuff in the back.
Mike, what's the shape of Italy? You're about to get it. You're about to get the what's the shape of Italy here today on the stream. Bringing up the Cowboys on a Clash at the Castle.
Wait. If I get the shape of Italy, can you tell me the capital of Thailand?
Oh my God. You're so I quit. You're done. You're done.
Literally, I quit.
That's it. I said it.
Quit, AJ Styles quit. And what I will say is this sets up perfectly for there would be a 6-man tag. I want Solo to pin Cody. And then that sets up Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam, where Roman Reigns finally returns. I like it. I think it's written in the book.
I think Roman Reigns, if it's coming, he's going to reveal the fact that we all know is true, that he didn't name Solo Sikoa acting tribal chief. Oh, yeah. Solo Sikoa named himself acting tribal chief, or a higher power. Isiah, there's probably a higher power within the bloodline, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on it, folks. But I wanted to bring that up. I forgot about it. We're all disorganized. We're learning as we go, folks. This is a learning progress. We don't have any fancy graphics this go around. It's cut. What matters is the words that we're speaking here and the analysis that we're giving. But let's get into it, folks. We're gonna finish off with the main event. And then I'm going to finish up with 3 questions I want to ask these fellas here. We saw Damian Priest, the current World Heavyweight Champion, defend that World Heavyweight Championship successfully against Drew McIntyre in his home country. And ladies and gentlemen, your eyes are not deceiving. The cult of personality showed up as a referee here. Ladies and gentlemen, CM Punk kicked Drew McIntyre in the balls, costing him the World Heavyweight Championship in front of his country. Mike Davis, I know he had a lot of thoughts. He came into this space raring and ready to go to mouth off. Mike Davis, what did you think about this? What transpired at the end of Clash at the Castle?
So I was told I took a public speaking class in college as part of my electronic media broadcasting degree from the Appalachian State University. I was always told if you couldn't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And so I will say something nice, okay? They did great camera work for Drew to like be looking up at the ceiling, not even looking down, have the back shot of the referee, 1, 2. But by golly, why did you do that? I mean, okay, this is not once, but this is twice. In Clash of the Castle, Drew McIntyre having the opportunity to win the world title. What was wrong with Damian Priest losing the world title, Rhea Ripley coming back, Liv Morgan stole her man, and Rhea's like, what's going on? Judgment Day's falling apart. You give Drew McIntyre, who re-signed with your company and put faith in you, get him that moment in front of his hometown, his crowd, his people. When will he ever be back in that moment with this momentum? He's had a great run this entire calendar year. And instead, you're going to have CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre a title. Of course, we're getting CM Punk, Drew McIntyre down the line. But why would CM Punk cost Drew McIntyre a chance at the championship when CM Punk could have challenged him in their eventual showdown match? Like, this didn't make any sense whatsoever. You already had a heel Damian versus a heel Drew, but Drew's obviously going to be a babyface in his hometown. So instead, you have CM Punk come out, a huge over babyface. He turned heel for a night to cost Drew, and then Monday, everybody's going to be cheering CM Punk. Like, this just didn't make sense. I did not like this booking decision, and I don't think this is going to be one of those things where Shawn convinces me otherwise, but because they dropped the ball on this one.
Drop the mic says they dropped the ball. Mike, obviously, do I have to tell you, or fellas, do you want to break the news to him as to why CM Punk screwed Drew McIntyre, flew all the way to Scotland, put on a referee jersey, slid his happy ass in the ring, faked the 2 count? Do I need to tell him? Should I tell him? Because he is the number one hater in the world. He hates Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre hates CM Punk. And if there's one thing in life I'll tell you to be is consistent, and these two guys consistently hate each other. He does not want to see him hold gold, whether or not that leads to Punk getting a title match against Drew down the line if he were to become champion. He just hates the thought of Drew holding gold because Drew keeps running his mouth. Fellas, am I wrong? He's a hater. That's it. They both hate each other.
Well, all about hate. Ways. I see it both ways. I really do. I'll be honest. As a Bloodline fan, as a Roman Reigns fan, it actually hurt seeing Drew lose 2 years ago at Clash of the Castle. I didn't think he was ever even going to be relatively close to this position where not only would he be back in the UK, but back in his backyard in Scotland. I was, in a way, it was 50-50 for me. I saw the idea of CM Punk interfering and costing the match, but when I woke up this morning, I was like, man, I'm just speaking as a fan, not as a podcaster, not as a content creator, as a fan. I woke up this morning as a fan. Drew needed to finally finish his story of winning a world title in a live audience, and the family, that was just a bonus. I'm like, okay, that's icing on the cake. And that didn't happen. Well, now you have to look at the other side. This is where we're being objective here. You know he's been feuding with CM Punk. You know CM Punk doesn't like him. Like you said, there's a mutual hate for each other at that point. But now it's like, I feel like it was perfectly done. And I just laughed at the end. I'm sorry, Mike, but I had to laugh after, I seen CM Punk walk out with that referee shirt on. I was like, it's over, because I didn't even expect that. So I'm telling you, it's going to be really, really good with or without a championship. Drew versus CM Punk. I think everybody's saying SummerSlam. Listen, I tell you, it's much more than a title at this point. This is real hate, and let's make it happen.
I think it's going to happen very soon. I think this could be a multi-match feud between Punk and Drew. A lot of rumblings of bad blood maybe making a return. Maybe we get ourselves a new pay-per-view, maybe a Hell in a Cell, throw it on the card, make it nice and fun. Shawn, how did you feel about the way this match ended? Did you enjoy it? Because the camera work was spectacular, much like the comments say, and everyone else here is saying it. But did you like it? Did you feel that this was what needed to happen?
I gotta agree with both of y'all. I like the match, don't like the outcome. Like, we'll go back to the camera work. When CM Punk runs in, they shoot that back angle. Me and my daughter sitting there watching the pay-per-view. I'm yelling, Dominic Mysterio, that dirty Dom, that's Dominic Mysterio. She's yelling JD. He shot her. She's yelling JD. Then when that show was Punk after the 2 count, I'm like, oh man, come on, not this. I'm like, please don't let this happen. And it happened. And I understand why they're building, because the match is Punk and Drew what they want. But here's a chance where I gotta agree with Mike Davis on this one. He's in Scotland. He's at home. He has not had the chance to win that title and have that hometown crowd grow. And you go back 2 years ago, like Isiah said at Clash of the Castle, when they did that package before the match and they played Shattered Dreams, his old theme music, even I said, oh man, Roman may lose tonight. They are really selling it.
I definitely said it too.
I thought he was.
I said, they go back and play the old theme music with that video package, and you watch Drew all the way from the start to being chosen as the golden one by Vince McMahon to having to leave and come back. I'm like, oh man, they're all in on Drew now. Once again, you had an opportunity to do it in his backyard. You didn't do it. And you know, if you do things like this, you want Punk to walk out as like he's the most hated guy in the world. He's the biggest heel. Punk didn't even walk out as a heel. You had 3 guys around saying, CM Punk. Monday night when Punk comes to Raw, soon as that music hits, everybody's going to go off. I just felt like you could have had Drew win this match, Drew go to SummerSlam, Drew and Gunther have a banger at SummerSlam, put the title on Gunther, and then start building to Drew and have Punk do something in that match to get Gunther to win the title, then build back to Punk and Drew versus doing it right here with Damian. I feel like Damian and Gunther now going to SummerSlam is no juice behind it to me, because we definitely know now that Gunther is going to roll right through Damian.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. I wouldn't be so sure about that, because my theory, I dropped this with 4 Sides of the Ring for the predictions for Clash. My theory is if Priest retained the championship, Finn wins Money in the Bank, Finn cashes in during Priest and Gunther to protect the title or retain the title within Judgment Day. And now you've got an interesting situation developing between the Judgment Days, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest. That's my theory on this. Mike's got a theory, it sounds like, too. I think we all have theories in where this is headed now. I agree. I would have liked to see Drew win in Scotland, his home country, finish his story like Isiah said. He got screwed over by the debut of Solo Sikoa. This time, CM Punk. What is the direction now as we head towards Money in the Bank? We'll wrap up with these last few questions. Where are we headed now with the World Heavyweight Championship? Are we headed towards a Judgment Day feud? Are we headed towards Gunther becoming the longest reigning World Heavyweight Championship at the drop of a dime? What do we think here? We'll make it quick, and I got 2 questions to finish up with.
It's Gunther. It's Gunther being the longest champ. That's where it's all headed. All roads lead that way.
Okay. Everyone's shaking their head in agreement. Everyone's in agreement with Shawn.
Gunther's definitely that's an avenue right there. And I said it yesterday on the space. I would love to see the World Heavyweight Championship stay with the Judgment Day, and we get a Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, the Demon match at SummerSlam. A lot of people don't understand. Like, Finn Balor is my second favorite wrestler outside.
I love him.
And I actually met him at WrestleMania 38 in Dallas, and he was the reason why I got back into watching wrestling in 2014. So
I love it, dude.
Either way.
Yeah,
Mike?
I absolutely love Finn Balor. Again, they dropped the ball. They could have had Drew hold this title and CM Punk, cost Drew the title at Money in the Bank, have that winner that night cash in on Drew, have Drew be the only one who's been cashed on 3 different times in Money in the Bank history. They even alluded to it tonight that he's been cashed on twice, and one of them was CM Punk affecting it. But where we go through now, I think Gunther wins the title at SummerSlam, defends it at Bash in Berlin. Don't know who it would be against, but then we're going to get the build up to Drew and CM Punk perhaps at SummerSlam.
Okay. I think that sounds very reasonable. I think you have Money in the Bank down the line. Potentially Drew qualifies for Money in the Bank. CM Punk screws him over again. Things could to go that path, right? It's a very interesting time in WWE. Excitement is building because we're going to have some more unpredictability. When we look at unpredictability, and I want to discuss the crowds we've been seeing over these last couple months. We saw Philadelphia for WrestleMania. I was in attendance. I thought we were a good crowd, but, I'm a little biased. I was there. We saw France in Backlash. We saw Saudi for King and Queen of the Ring. And now we saw Scotland here for Clash at the Castle. Fellas, who so far in early of 2024 now, as we branch to the summer, who has been the top crowd, starting with Shawn?
France. Can't get over.
All right. Isiah, who has been the top crowd?
I got to go with France.
Got to go with France. Mike, who was the top crowd?
It's unanimous. It's France. And with these international crowds, it's made me spoiled. I don't want a pay-per-view to go back into America. This is exciting, having these international crowds.
It's funny you say that because we know SummerSlam in 2026 is now going to be 2 nights in Minnesota, but we don't know where SummerSlam 2025 is going to be, which leads me to believe it's going to be international, and they just haven't announced it yet. Speaking of this encapsulating everything, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to the wrap up here. Thank you guys for joining me for 45 minutes across YouTube and Twitter. We'll figure out the glitches one day. And thank you guys for joining as well. But match of the night, favorite match, Shawn, go.
Chad Gable and Sami Zayn.
I like it. Isiah, favorite match, go.
I actually have to agree. Chad and Sammy for sure.
I like it. Okay. Michael Davis.
Chad and Sammy was close, but after Shawn convinced me earlier, I'm going to go Cody AJ.
Okay. I like it. I'm going to hit you with Drew and Priest. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a perfect main event here, and it led things and it kept the door open. We love a good cliffhanging ender to a premium live event. I want to thank all of my amazing co-hosts here today. Make sure you follow them all across social media. I'll tag them underneath the videos in the description, wherever this is going to get uploaded after the fact. So thank you, Isiah. Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, guys. Plug your stuff, and we're out of here.
Hey, it's been a pleasure, man. Nice meeting you, Shawn. Michael Davis, I'm definitely not unfamiliar with your game. You are in the Bloodline Rules tournament over there at Two Heads Island. You guys can follow us. That's at Two Heads Podcast. Click a link in our bio. You can check out our IG, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. We got it. And, of course, mouthing off with Mike, it was a pleasure coming up in here. And you keep doing your thing, brother. We're proud of you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for coming on. This is not the last time, so you know that. Shawn, tell the people where they can find you, follow you, watch you, check you out.
Hey guys, you can find me on X with Sports with Luke, on Instagram at Grit Grind Podcast NC. When football season gets started, if you're interested in North Carolina high school football, go to Studio 67 NCC on YouTube, and you can see some of our shows talk about high school football and some other things we got going on.
I love it, Shawn. I love it. Make sure you guys follow them too. And Michael Davis, tell the people where they can find you.
So you can go find me and all my shows on Facebook for Out of Pocket with Michael Davis and the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast. You can find me on X at @B_Michael Davis. You can find us on the Instagram at Out of Pocket _TRSR, at Drop the Mic Wrestling. And I will be broadcasting live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday of next week on our socials with that Out of Pocket, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time for a quick 30 minutes in sports. And I'm pretty sure Tuesdays we talk wrestling, so I'll probably still be upset about the finish of tonight's show.
Man's always got something to complain about. He just wants to complain and complain and complain. And you guys know you can find me at MOWM_podcast. I want to thank these guys once again. Thank you guys so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We've got Collision tonight. We've got wrestling coming down the pipeline. Just go out there and enjoy some pro wrestling from your host here at Mouthing Off with Mike.